Hey guys, SUBMOTO here. So it's been a while, and the reason for that is because I'm a poor ass bastard right now. I'm fixing to change some big things in my life. I want to spend more time playing music and less time doing my day job. So I'm cutting back on some resource. Anyway, long story short, I haven't had that much money, so obviously I haven't had the money for parts. But one thing I did get is this beautiful carburetor, a TM36 carburetor, Mikuni, and this is awesome. This is a really cool piece of engineering for the SR500, and I know a lot of guys that have this carburetor and have gotten some really good results with them. So I figured I'd get one. I also purchased this air filter. This is an air filter. This monster right here, which basically has the same function as this, and this is a big one, by the way. But I wanted to use an original air filter first. The problem is there's simply no room under the seat. The original owner of the bike tried to customize it and move some stuff around, and it would be really problematic to just to get room for this, and it would take a lot of time and effort, which I don't want to spend at this time. So I'm going to keep this just in case. But at the moment, I'd like to experiment with this setup. And I know I've said I don't want to use pod filters before, but I'll see this as an experiment. And I know a few guys that are really, really good at tuning these TM36 carburetors, which is something I also said in the video. I didn't just say don't use pod filters. I said go for it if you have an expert or the expertise, right? I do not have the expertise. But what I do have is a series of people that are extremely good at tuning, professionals that do this for a living and have the necessary equipment to make a perfect rejetting and tuning of the carburetor to make it work optimally with a pod filter. So that's what I'm going to do. There are some basic components that can be changed on a carburetor. Now, the essential function of a carburetor is to make a mixture of air and gasoline and feed that into your engine. That's its function. It makes a mixture. It's that simple. And to do that, it has different phases. And this is something that I actually didn't really understand. But there's this diagram right here. And in this diagram, you can see that depending on how much you turn the throttle, a different component of the carburetor will become effective. As you can see in this diagram, is that if you're at full throttle, which is at 4/4 at the top, your main jet is the one that is actually effective in that area. So if you're running lean at full throttle or rich, you're going to want to consider replacing the main jet. If you are at idle or up to 1/4 of a throttle turn, you can see that the effective parts of the carburetor are the pilot system, with the pilot air jet or the pilot screw, and the throttle valve, and so that's how you check that. And obviously, in the middle range, you have the jet needle and the needle jet. That's going to be like the mid-range. So basically, what that means is that you can have a too rich of a condition. Now, rich means too much gasoline, too much gas, and too little air, or a too lean condition, which means too much air and too little gas. You can have a too lean condition at 1/4 open throttle, and then a too rich condition at full throttle. What it is, in essence, is you're balancing that out and making sure that you have the correct mixture all the way through the range. So that gives you some main components that are going to be important that you can play with, that you can change. So I'm going to show you the inside of this carburetor and where you can adjust the different things. But first things first. Once you mount this carburetor on your engine, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the correct idle mixture. To do that, you adjust it by using your pilot fuel screw. Okay, pilot fuel screw is right there, and it's going to be in different places depending on the carburetor. See, if I'm going to turn it all the way in, right? And you want to be careful when you turn this all the way in because it is very sensitive. So don't press it in. Like if you can feel that it just stops, then just leave it there. Okay. Now this, see, I can't turn it anymore. I'm not going to press it. You want to start out at around 2 to 3 turns out. So basically what that is, if you watch right here, whenever you turn these, you want to turn them in half increments, right? So this is 1/2, like this, 1/2, and a complete turn. That's 1 turn. And I'm going to leave it at 2.5, because that's a good place to start. When you have this on your bike, you want to obviously have a warm engine that it's at optimal, not too hot, not too cold. Just you want to ride it for a little while, and then you want to check the idle speed. You want it to run at around 1,000 RPM, and then when you do that, and you can adjust the RPMs, the idle speed on this dial right here. What you do is you will turn it in with half increments, right? So we're going to pretend it's running on idle, and we're going to go turn it in. That's 1/2. So that's 2 turns, right? And then we're going to turn it in again. So we're at 1.5. And let's say at 1 turn, right? Now we're at 1 complete turn in, or 1 turn out. The engine starts to stall. Well, what that means is that you're closing, as in essence, every time you turn that, you're closing the fuel line, or the added fuel into the carburetor. So there's less fuel and more air because you're closing it, right? So that gives you a lean mixture. And if it gets too lean, your engine is just not going to work. And you can tell it's kind of stalling out. If you turn it more, it probably would stop. But then you say, okay, that's 1 turn, fine. Then you turn it the other way, and it'll get better. That's 1/2 right there, so it's 1.5. And then you're at 2 turns, and well, let's say 2.5, and then let's say 3 turns, and 3.5, and at 4, we're just playing. I'm just pretending, right? It's 4. You can tell obviously the mixture is getting too rich, so too much gas and too little fuel, and what that means is that your engine will start to stall right there, and well, maybe not stall, but it'll just start acting funky. That means that between 1 turn and 4 turns, because 1 turn was too lean and 4 turns was too rich, you want to find the middle point between that, which would be 1.5. It was 2.5 turns, right? So 2.5 turns is the exact center or middle point between the two, between it stalling out because of too lean condition or too rich condition. So that's between 1 and 4. So we're just playing. I mean, I don't know how it's going to react. Now here's the thing. If for some reason you're doing that, you have your engine at optimal running temperature, and you're turning the screw, and you turn it in, right? If you're as far as this, and you get to the point where you're at 1/4, and the engine starts stalling out there, it's too close. So we need to be able to have more headroom, and to do that, obviously, you guessed it, if you can't turn the screw in enough, then obviously you're going to have to replace the jet, right? So we're taking the bowl off, And these are floaters and everything. There's a lot of stuff to it, but we're only going to look at what's relevant. This right here, that one, is going to be the pilot fuel jet. All right. So this is the one that you're going to have to replace. This is what it looks like. As you can tell, this is a different size. I have a few different sizes here, just in case I need to do that. And on the side of that jet, there's going to be a number. This is a 20, and I'm going to grab another one and see what size that is. You probably can't read that, but this is a 15. Whenever you change your jet sizes, you want to change them. Like if they say change it one size down, well, what does that mean? Well, one size down is 2.5. So for example, if you have a 20 jet in there, let's say it's one of these in there, and they say, well, you want to use one size down, then that would be 17.5, right? And if you want to jet down 2 sizes, obviously you'd want a 15. And that just basically means that the hole is going to be smaller than the hole that's in there. And since it is fuel that it's feeding in, the smaller the hole, the less fuel you're going to get, etc. And the thing is, when you put on a filter, an air pod filter like this, you're going to get more air than you would using this, right? So more air and less fuel. That's going to screw with your mixture. So what do you do? What do you have to? How would you rejet that? Well, if you can't do it with your screw, then obviously, if you have more air and less fuel, meaning you have a lean condition, you're going to want to have a richer condition, right? So you want to put more fuel so it balances that out, meaning that you'd have to go a size up. And as you can tell from the diagram, the pilot fuel jet corresponds to 0 to 1/4 throttle. So when you're doing this on your bike, you want to mark out your throttle so you know how much you're turning it. You can do that with tape, and then you will that's the jet that will affect that. If you don't want to change the pilot jet, then you can also change the pilot air jet right there. And that's obviously just going to be the opposite. So just if you need more of a lean condition, or yeah, if you need a smaller hole on this jet right here, that would mean a bigger jet here. It's either or, but you can adjust it either way. I have these, so for me, I'll be changing this jet right there. Now for mid-range, this area right here, we're from 1/4 and up to about 3/4, past 3/4. We have the jet needle. What's the jet needle, you ask? There's the needle jet and the jet needle. All right, two different things. The needle jet is the jet that's at the bottom. At the very bottom, it's like a little cup. It looks like in there. It's actually a jet which you can change also. But what you want to adjust in that area is not the needle jet, but the jet needle. That's like a needle. See how that needle like goes up and down in there? That's like that's called the jet needle. That jet needle can be adjusted. Okay. Now, I'm not going to screw with this too much, but see right there, you have like a little cover, little metal cover. And if I remove that, push that to one side, I have to use an Allen key. There's like, here's the jet needle, the other end of it. And it has like a little clip that holds onto it. And on that needle, there are like different ridges. And you can put that clip on a lower ridge or a higher ridge. So in essence, if you put the clip on a lower one, then you're raising the needle, right? That's called raising the needle. I'm going to put that down again. So that's in essence the jet needle, which I just showed you, and the needle jet, which is at the bottom, which is like where the jet needle goes in. And when you want to check the needle jet, right, the one on the bottom, a way to do that is to ride your bike and ride out in like half throttle, somewhere around there, 80, 90 kilometers an hour, something like that, and then press the kill switch. Pull over to one side and take out the spark plug. All right, just wait for it to cool off, obviously. And if your spark plug is too white, like the ceramic part inside, right? If it's too white, then your engine is running lean, which means that the needle jet at the bottom, if it's running lean, it means it's too small, right? So you want to if you want to change that to a more brownish color, which is the optimal color, if that size is too small for the needle jet, obviously you're going to have a bigger size, right? So you size up one and see if that works. Now the other way around, if your spark plug's all black, that means you're running too rich, which means that your needle jet is too large. So you'd want to obviously step that down a size, and that's basically how you adjust that. Now that was the needle jet, right? But the jet needle can also be adjusted, like I just showed you. It can be adjusted in height. If you raise it, you're going to allow more of a mixture to get in. So obviously when you raise that, so basically you're putting the clip on, you put the clip lower, right? That'll raise that makes sense. You put the clip lower, that raises your needle. That's going to give you more of a rich mixture. The jet needle's effectiveness is going to be around mid-range, so from 1/2 to 3/4 throttle. So you want to be riding down, let's say around 50 miles an hour or so. And you want to be riding down at around half throttle, and you're going to test this with your acceleration, right? So if you're going to accelerate between 1/2 and 3/4, you're going to test that acceleration. Now, if it's slow and it doesn't want to accelerate properly, then that means that your mixture is too lean, right? So you're going to want to richen it out, and you do that by raising the needle. So you're going to get it richer. And that should fix that. But on the other hand, if it's too rich, then it will accelerate crisply. But when you pull it down, it'll like stagger. And if it does that, that means you have too rich a condition. And remember, this needle is only effective mainly effective between 1/2 and 3/4 throttle, right? And you can adjust that and get the right mixture and get your best acceleration right there by adjusting that. Okay, so the last jet you want to look at is going to be your main jet right there. All right, that's your main jet, and it looks like this. And same principle. You look at this jet sizes, and it's got some writing on there, and it'll tell you what size that is. The thing is with the main jet is that its effective range is going to be past 3/4 throttle to full throttle. Okay, so in essence, you could actually ride without a main jet, and it wouldn't really matter until you get to that 3/4 range, right? So if you're having mixture problems from 3/4 throttle and below, there's no point in changing your main. It's not going to be the main jet's fault. So you only change this if it has a mixture problem between 3/4 and full throttle. I didn't know that. I always heard change your jet, and they just change that one jet, and then they say that's rejetting your bike. It's apparently not. And say what you might. Like I said, I'm going out. This is the manual, so I'm like, everything I'm telling you is stuff it says in the manual, right? So take it up with the manual if you disagree. I don't know. I'm not an expert enough to know, and I'm not even going to try. I'm going to take it to my mechanic, and he's gonna do that for me. But anyway, the manual says that what you can do is you check the acceleration points between 35 and 55 miles an hour plus. So basically, you find a telephone pole, and you ride past that pole. And when you ride past that pole, you want to be at around 35 miles an hour. And when you get to that point, you accelerate. And then you have another pole, which it doesn't matter the distance, it's just as long as it gives you time to accelerate. The jet that is most correct for your mixture is going to be the jet that's going to give you the highest RPMs at the second pole. Okay, so you're riding at 35 miles an hour, and then you gun it. And when you gun it, you can try different sizes out. The correct main jet will be the one that will allow you to accelerate the highest at that speed. And they say, and it says, this method is simple and completely accurate. Okay, whatever. So that's what the manual says. Anyway, so that's those are the basics. There are different things that can affect your tuning, and there's going to be like float bowl heights and stuff like that, and there are different components in there that can be changed. But I'm not even going to get into that, because that's going to be a whole different ball game. Those basics should get you in the ballpark anyway, right? And if you're going to be rejetting it yourself, and if nothing else, at least give you an understanding of what it means to rejet your carburetor. Okay, and that's all I want to get through in this video. It's not a look at me, I'm so freaking professional, I know everything about everything type video, because that's far from the truth. In fact, I'm learning this as I go, just like I did everything else on the other bike. And a good way to do that is through YouTube. And all the mechanics have said that if you're going to be, rejetting it for real, take it to a professional, because they can hear it, they can feel it, they know the machines, they know how much is too much, etc., etc. Let them do it. Let's go do this. Okay, well, here we are with the bike, and there's the old pod filter. Remember, don't use a small pod filter on a big one cylinder. You want to use a big pod. And I've moved all the electronics over to one side over here. It's kind of messy, but it works, and we'll see if we can get room enough for the filter. We'll figure that out in a second. But anyway, they say that the first thing you want to do before you mount this is you want to oil your pod filter, KNN filter. And usually they have like KNN has a special kind of oil that you can use, but WD-40 works just fine. This is like a WD-40 wannabe thing. There it goes. Damn, looks beautiful already. Something like that. Just figure out where it's best to have it. And there it is. Let's go ahead and tighten that up. The next step is the throttle cable. Now with these bikes, the SRs, there are two throttle cables, right? So one is a pull and the other one is a push. Now I asked a couple of guys how to attach this, and they said not to worry about the push, because this carburetor, the TM36, it's good, it's fine just the way it is with only the pull. So for now I'm just going to leave this here, put it up here somewhere, as long as it doesn't catch in anything, and we'll just only use the pull version. These side panels, they're handmade. They're really slim, which is really cool. And I'm going to paint them black. You see, that fits, and that was one of the reasons that the original air filter, there just wasn't enough room. Just a quick thing. I'm not going to rejet it, obviously, because we still got the other stuff to do before I do that. Now, what I did do is I use this throttle valve opening schematic and put that on the bike, so I can actually tell while I'm riding where the throttle is, right? So that would be 0, and then it got that at 100%, and half throttle, and that way I can always tell where I'm at and what part of the carburetor is working. So if it does feel wrong in a certain area, then I know what jet to change, or at least to tell the mechanic where I feel like it's lagging. Okay, here goes. I got the carb on. See if everything works as it's supposed to. Okay, well, seems to be working. I feel like maybe I don't have as much power as I should at full throttle, or like between 3/4 and full. So that may mean I need to rejet the main jet, and I feel like maybe there are some acceleration issues, like at mid throttle. So that would probably mean that I would have to see if I remember it right. Raise the needle. I think that would probably do it. But I'm not going to worry about rejetting or anything like that until it's the valves are adjusted and get a professional to look at it. But it looks like it works, and it will probably just need a little bit of tweaking, and it should be pretty good. It's not like it's absolutely crazy faster than it used to be, but I'm confident that once we get this thing jetted, it's going to be a lot better than it used to be. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, or hope you could use the information. I've learned a lot, and you know, feel free to come with your pointers if you know anything about this stuff, because I'm still learning, and it's fun. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. So remember to subscribe and ride, and I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.